This modern, fast manual lens reminds me of a vintage lens, so let's review that. TTArtisan 23mm f1.4 is an equivalent of a 35mm lens in full frame. It weighs only 222 grams and it's really compact, as you can see, and combined with my Sony a6300, even in the cage, it is so small and neat. This lens is made only for APS-C or Micro Four Thirds cameras, and it is available in a lot of different mounts like Sony E, EOS M, Fuji X, Nikon Z, Micro Four Thirds and L mount. We have two control points, aperture ring with a gentle click every stop almost, a bit more clicks during 1.4 and f2, 2.8 as well, and a focusing ring which is very smooth and has some cool features like those silver rectangles. Also in the kit you'll find a pretty regular plasticky back cap, a metal mount which of course has no weather sealing gasket on it, and on the front you'll see a slip-on slip-off cap which is made out of metal. So now guys, let's have a look at this lens's performance in terms of sharpness, distortion and of course vignette. So in terms of distortion, we have a pretty strong barrel distortion as you can see here, but it has some kind of mustache shape towards the bottom of the image and it's a pretty strong distortion guys. In terms of vignette, it is very strong from f1.4, it gets better by f2, and also we have a bit improved sharpness and contrast in the middle of the image when switching to f2. By f2.8 we get better sharpness in the corners, but still they are very soft, and wide open they're extremely soft. By f4 they get better and they get a lot of great detail and resolution only by f5.6. So if you want to get a sharp image from corner to corner, you'll have to step down to at least to f5.6. So here are they side by side. f1.4 is, let me say, unusable at 1.4 in the corner. Also it's very dark, and only at f4, f5.6 we do get this resolution in the corners. And here is the vignette you get wide open with this lens. In terms of minimal focus and distance, it's not a bad performance here guys. This lens has 20 centimeters of minimal focus and distance, which is not that bad, and as you can see here we get sharp and nice images when close focusing, and even at 1.4 we do still get a lot of sharpness in the middle of the image. Here are some shots I was able to get with the minimal focus and distance with this lens, wide open most of the time, and as you can see guys, it's doing a great job. And here is my favorite cat, her name is Moita. In terms of focus breathing, it's a lot of focus breathing, maybe on par with Sony G Master 35mm, so it has a ton of focus breathing while focusing, so it's not the best performance here as well guys. Now let's move on to chromatic aberrations, and wide open you see a lot of purple and green fringes, and if you kind of expose a bit darker, you can see even more of those purple fringes, and if we stop down to about f4 they disappear. So if you want to shoot something contrasty like branches against the sky, please stop down to f4, f5.6 with this lens. Here it is, so at f1.4 again, so it's not as bad as before, but still at f4 we get much better image resolution in the corner and less chromatic aberrations. This lens has 10 aperture blades, and now let's have a look at this lens's bokeh during the daytime. As you can see guys, we have a lot of out of focus background, we don't even see the individual circles, we see just overall cream of those bokeh, and I have zero complaints about it. It looks very nice, and you can get some kind of this shot with this lens, and it looks gorgeous in my opinion in terms of bokeh and autofocus backgrounds. So let's have a look at the bokeh circles during the dark time, and as you can see we have some cat-size shape, but all in all those bokeh balls look good, natural, and they have no texture and no chromatic aberrations inside of those circles, which is very important and good. So in terms of bokeh, this lens is doing a very good job actually. I was surprised seeing those bad chromatic aberrations on the branches, but in the bokeh balls we see almost zero, and when we stop down from f1.4 to f16, the bokeh balls do lose circular shape a little bit, but still they're pretty much round and nicely looking. But in terms of Coma smearing and lens flares, this lens is not the best. It has very strong Coma smearing till f2, f2.8, and also this little orb of light around a source of light is very visible, and it stays there no matter at which aperture you're shooting. but it has pretty decent sun stars. As you can see here, guys, at f5.6 we have a very nice little sun star. Here is a picture I took, and we can still see those orbs, artifacts, or kind of flares near the sun stars. And in terms of flaring, this lens has weak performance, guys, unfortunately. Kind of like a vintage lens at f1.4, we see a ton of contrast loss, we see a lot of ghosting, flaring, glaring, and all that stuff, and Coma smearing all over the place. So if you want to get those vintagey looking flares, it's a nice option, but all in all, it's a very poor and weak performance, unfortunately. And this lens costs only $88 on the TTArtisan website, which is very cheap, and I think this lens is an awesome upgrade if you only have a kit lens on your APS-C camera and you want to get some out of focus background, some blur, but you're really tight on a budget and you're not afraid of using a manual lens. But I would hardly ever use such optics in my professional workflow. It's only for amateurs in my opinion, and for getting some interesting looking shots and kind of copying the vintage lens. So is this lens worth your attention, guys, or is it better to just save up some money and get a better lens instead? Let me know in the comment section below. If you did enjoy this video, please smash the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, bye.